Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Ma'am Neri, your personal development teacher, and for today's video, we are going to discuss Module 14, the art of emotional expressions. From the previous module, we have learned how to improve our intelligence and grow our brain by personally making a concrete plan to achieve them. However, as human beings, we are not only governed by our intelligence, sometimes, our behaviors, reactions, and even decisions are not only based on what we know or how we understand things but also on how we deal with our emotions. For our objectives, you are expected that at the end of this module, you should be able to discuss that understanding the intensity and differentiation of emotions may help in communicating emotional expressions. As we begin, please remember the definition of the following terms. Emotion is a natural instinctive state of mind derived from one's experiences, personal relationships, and life circumstances, usually attributed to one's feelings and moods. Feeling is a general term for subjective point of view as well as for specific sensations. Mood is a temporary state of mind or feeling. And emotional intelligence is the ability to understand, use, and manage your own emotions in positive ways. Let us move on to pretest. Agree or disagree. Directions. Read and analyze the statements below. Circle thumbs up if you agree and thumbs down if you do not agree with the statement. Number 1. Emotions are based on feelings and has nothing to do with human intelligence. Number 2. A person can choose a mood whenever he decides to. Number 3. The more intense the emotions are, the more that they need to be suppressed. Number 4. Both pleasant and unpleasant emotions must be expressed appropriately. Last but not the least. Number 5. Okay, as a response is a good measure of emotional expression. Learning Activity 1. Feelings Meter. Directions. Below is a set of different emoticons that manifest the different common human emotions. Your task is to rate yourself as regards the intensity of emotion you feel whenever you experience each one of them. Rate yourself 10 for the most extreme and 1 for the least extreme. It does not aim to know how frequent you experience these emotions, rather it focuses on how strong your feelings are when you experience them in your life. Shade the line up to the corresponding number of your choice. Thank you for answering Learning Activity 1. Feelings Meter. Then, let's answer some processing questions. 1. What can you say about the intensity of your emotions? What does it show about how extreme your emotions are, both in the lower and higher points? 2. How does the intensity of your emotions affect your behaviors and reactions to your environment? How important is understanding the intensity of your emotional experiences? 3. What are your insights after doing this activity? Expound your answer. Let's have another activity. Activity 2 is heart attack. Below is a figure of a heart which in the classical sense is used to illustrate our emotions. However, most of the time, we only use heart to symbolize the emotion of love to someone. In this activity, you will design your heart showing how complex its experience of emotions, not to signify how intense each emotion of yours but how many and how frequent these emotions are experienced by you. You may use scribbles or doodles to design your heart, but what is important is the different colors you assign to each part of emotion. You may choose what occupies the most central part or the peripheries. Below your heart, make a legend to facilitate our understanding of the different emotions.
Processing questions. How do you describe your heart? Does it truly resemble how colorful and complex your emotional experience is? Expound on your answer. If you will be given the chance to improve your heart's landscape, what part would you like to change? Why and how? The experience of human emotion can be traced back to the human race's survival instinct. When there is a threatening stimulus in the environment, our tendency is to automatically protect ourselves to survive. We call this a fight or flight reaction. These autonomic reactions have been learned by human beings at the evolutionary level, and this can be a common process that we share even with animals, the capacity to respond to stimuli in the environment. What makes us different from animals and other living organisms is our ability to become fully aware of our emotions, their expressions and reactions. With this, we will be able to process and draw out insights from our experiences that in turn may help us improve in our daily dealings with the people around us. However, as human beings, we have different perceptions and receptions about the world, hence we have different ways on how we process our experiences. It is not new to you when you accuse intelligent people to be dumb in handling emotions, particularly in the name of love. Though there is little association between this two, especially when an intelligent person is not a master of his/her emotions. However, to claim this as a universal truth is a different thing. There are a lot of things to be considered in this claim. First, you need to reiterate the meaning of intelligence, and second, you need to have an empirical basis to say that this claim is true. As discussed in the preceding modules, it emphasized that intelligence is not only measured by someone's ability to solve mathematical problems and resolve natural science mysteries. You understood that intelligence can be in different forms, and apart from the multiple intelligence of Howard Gardner, you also have this emotional intelligence or emotional quotient of Solovey and Mayer, which pertains to the ability to understand, use, and manage one's emotions. Hence, emotional intelligence can be acquired by people across intellectual or academic capacities. They are not inversely proportional to each other. In fact, they can go hand in hand together. And this begins in the simplest act of being aware and able to recognize your own feelings and emotions. This ability can also be a good determinant of life's success because it will help you build strong relationships, facilitates good decision-making, and assists you in dealing with difficult situations in day-to-day life struggles. The activities you accomplished above could be a good way to start improving your emotional intelligence. As mentioned, it begins with a simple awareness and recognition of your emotions. That is why the activities were about reflecting on the intensity and variety of your emotions. Your personal development reader provides ways on how to improve your emotional intelligence. Here are some of the ways on how to be emotionally intelligent. First is being aware of your emotions. By noticing or recognizing the feelings or moods in a particular situation in a day is the most fundamental skill for emotional intelligence. If you can accurately name what and how you feel, then you are ready for the next skill. One cannot manage something that he is not aware of. That is why it is important to label your emotions. Verbalizing it to yourself is helpful, e.g., I feel frustrated, I feel glad, I feel thrilled. From now on, make it a habit to recognize and label your emotions. Second, understanding how others feel and why. Apart from being aware of your own emotion, another skill to be improved is learning how to understand others' emotions. Again, you will not be able to accomplish this if you do not have a mastery of yourself, or else, you will end up to having mistaken judgment about people. This skill is also called empathy. This is important since this is a good ground for positive relationship with others, enabling you to recognize how to respond to people and situations. Make it a habit to recognize and label your emotions. The third is managing emotional reactions. It is good to recognize your current emotion and to keep reminding the self what kind of emotion you are experiencing. However, we need to learn further how to manage our reactions. If you want to improve your emotional intelligence, learn when, where, and how to express yourself. There is greatness in being truthful and frank, but there is nobleness in choosing the right timing and the manner of saying, I feel glad, I feel thrilled. From now on, make it a habit to recognize and label your emotions. Lastly, choosing your mood. If you are already aware of your and others' emotions and you are also able to manage your reactions, it is now important to empower yourself in choosing your moods. Moods are emotional states that last for a shorter period of time. Recognize that our mood must not always depend about others and the situations. An emotionally intelligent person knows that he or she has the capacity to choose his or her mood. These ways are easier said than done. That is why, mastering the art of managing emotion is sometimes a lifetime process. As we age, we come to know more our tendencies, as observed from our previous reactions to situations, and we get to manage more our emotional expressions. Emotional expressions are a set of behaviors manifested from our feelings and moods. When we were little, we tend to cry a lot when we are in pain or when we are sad or lonely. When we are angry, we tend to be more aggressive to the point of quarreling other children. Childhood emotional expressions could be in a form of stomping, hitting, yelling, and losing control. But as we grow older, though we may still cry and be aggressive at times, but the intensity and the frequency are now varied and different from our childhood experience of emotional expressions. You may have improved a lot in your emotional expressions or the other way around, but these primarily depend on how we deal with our emotions today. There are suggestions above about how we are going to improve our emotional intelligence. But they are easier said than done, especially to teenagers like you. The first two, emotional awareness and empathy, may seem so easy, but it also needs a lot of time to master. The last two, managing reactions and choosing one's mood, are more difficult than the first ones, especially that they are highly dependent upon our brain development, which we have learned from the previous modules, that teenagers' brains are still on the process of construction. However, this does not impede our chance to improve our emotional expressions. What is important right now is our continuous mindfulness and reflections about how we react to our environment is influenced by our current emotional state. Observing and understanding your reactions to how intense and varied your emotions are could a great help to achieve your self-mastery. What are your takeaways on emotional intelligence and expressions? Please answer the following questions. In 1 or 2 sentences, discuss what is emotional intelligence. Among the different ways to improve your emotional intelligence, which do you think is most appropriate to you? How would you apply it? How good are you at evaluating your own emotions? Do you feel that you already have the capacity to manage your own emotional expressions? How do you feel about this reality? Feel thrilled. From now on, make it a habit to recognize and label your emotions. Here is another activity. My emotional expressions tracking device. Using this device, you can monitor how well you are doing with your emotional expressions. Complete the device below. Think of the times when you are in the extremes of emotions experiencing each. Just be grounded on the experience you had about this emotion. If you think you were not able to explore this emotion yet, might as well imagine yourself feeling these emotions, and try to see your tendencies upon having them experienced. Now on, make it a habit to recognize and label your emotions. Frequency refers to how often you experience the emotion as reflected from your heart attack. Use the scale of 1 as the lowest to 10 being the highest rate. Intensity refers to how strong or extreme the emotion is. Use your answer written in feelingsmeter. Use the scale of 1 as the lowest to 10 as the highest rate. Emotional expressions refer to your reactions or your behavioral response to the given emotion. Write your answers in phrase. Give at least 2 answers in this item. Evaluation refers to your personal judgment whether your emotional expressions are acceptable or not. Your basis of saying so is your own understanding of social norms and good conduct. Let me test your takeaways on my emotional expressions tracking device. What is your answer on the following? How did you feel doing the activity? Was it easy or difficult? Why made you say so? What can you say about your emotional expressions or your reaction tendencies when you experience these emotions? Do you like what you see? Why or why not? Based on your evaluation of each emotion and its emotional expressions, which emotion do you still need to manage better? Cite at least 3 and suggest ways how to improve your self-management skills. How would you like to improve in your emotional expressions? How will it help in shaping the better you? Being true in expressing your emotions is good and actually healthy. Studies suggest that repressing emotions lead to increased level of stress. Another, emotional expressions were found to be a common trait among people who lived 100 years, part of it is positive attitude towards life. So, the suggestion is that we should express our emotions and don't hold back. However, for those who are not used doing so, it is easier said than done. And for those who really wanted to express it totally, there are still proper ways in communicating them. Saying that emotional expression is healthy does not mean that we can say all that we want to say in all kinds of manner we want them to be expressed. Emotional intelligence, just like other intelligences, are honed talents and skills, and we vary in the way we cultivate these. A huge factor why we vary in communicating emotions are our personality. Those who are extroverts tend to have higher emotional expressiveness than those who are introverts. But the good news is, just like other intelligences, it can be improved. Here are the list that provides concrete ways on communicating emotional expressions. 1. It always begins with self-awareness. How do you feel about the situation? What message do you want to communicate? It is good to clarify first your own emotions before communicating it to others. That is why, when we are angry, it is good to separate yourself first from the triggering factors, process yourself, and calm down your emotions. You may also talk to a friend expressing why you are angry. When you are already good, Then you may communicate your feelings to those whom you wanted to express it. 2. Emotions are data, it communicates meaning and intent. Therefore, it is important to accurately convey those to people in the most possible way that they can also understand and perceive. Most of the time, people argue and quarrel not because of differing opinions, but because of emotions attached to it and the way we convey as well as interpret the message. 3. Practice communicating your emotional expression to closest friends first. Trying to master communicating emotional expression is quite frustrating for some. There are those who badly wanted to express but they can't. And there are those who expressed it eventually but later on regretted why they did it at the very first place. This experience, if remains, will encage you in that cycle forever. So, communicating emotional expressions to closest friends may help in the long run, until such time that you are already ready doing it to others or even strangers. 4. Avoid responding, okay, when trusted people ask, how are you, especially when they seem so sincere about their concern. Instead of saying just, okay, you may start expressing what you actually feel. In counseling, okay, as a response is not considered an emotion or even a feeling, it is the vaguest answer you would hear. For us Filipinos, responding, okay, is culturally tolerated. But this is when the purpose of asking, how are you, is just a greeting but not an actual question. So, from now on, instead of saying just, okay, you may say actual feelings. For instance, I feel anxious about our upcoming exams, or, I am distracted by our classmates' behaviors, or, I'm excited about what will be the next lesson. 5. If you cannot find somebody to communicate your emotions, you may take a video of yours while expressing yourself. After doing it, you may want to play the videos and observe how you express yourself, your tone of voice, your facial expression, your gestures, and the likes. This will help you in your personal awareness of your emotional expressions. If videos are not available, you may talk in front of mirror and observe yourself expressing your emotion. 6. Change your perspective about expressing unpleasant emotions. Most of the time, we associate unpleasant emotions with negative emotions. Note that in the Philippine culture, negative emotions are trained to be repressed and not meant to be expressed, especially in public situations. When we are angry, we prefer not to say it, instead, we promote talking about the person behind his back. People judge us as weak and sensitive when we are sad and cry. When we are afraid, we are judged as cowards. These are cultural expressions that need further examination. There is nothing wrong with expressing unpleasant emotions as long as there is a good and clear intention, as long as you do not harm others, and as long as you already processed what you wanted to convey. It's wrap-up time. Answer the following questions. A. What important ideas have you learned from this module? Enumerate at least 3 in bullet form. B. What have you discovered about yourself in relation to the module? How do you feel about these discoveries? Explain your answers in a maximum of 3 sentences only. C. In a maximum of 5 sentences, discuss how is your understanding of the intensity and differentiation of emotions help you in communicating your emotional expressions. Application. Smartboard. You already understood the idea why there is a need for you to understand that the intensity and differentiation of your emotion affects how you communication emotional expressions. Then, you are already prepared in planning out how to improve your own ways of communicating emotional expressions. Directions. Choose 3 emotions among those included in Task 1 and draw them in the circles provided below. Choose those with the highest intensity and frequency. Then use the chart below, planning how you will respond to them in the future. You will write 3 easy and feasible steps, reaction, expressions when you will be confronted with that emotion. For stage performers, they call their written guide off stage as idiot board. But in this activity, since you already learned a lot and ready to act it out, we will call this Smartboard. Let's do another activity. Personal pledge to becoming an emotionally mature individual. You are going to identify personal strengths that will help you in actualizing your plans in your Smartboard. Use these personal strengths to back up your pledge to becoming an emotionally mature individual. Write a simple pledge following the format below. Let's do the post-test. Emotion Validator. Directions. You are a member of the school's peer counseling club. You are chosen to evaluate and check your co-members' work ready for posting. Their works are in a form of slogan and you will be promoting how to communicate emotional expressions appropriately. Suppose the items below are their works, choose whatever is appropriate for posting. Your only standard in choosing is the correctness of the concept being conveyed. Put a smiley to those you approve, and sad face to those you do not approve. Put a smiley on the items that you think is appropriate on promoting how to communicate emotional expressions. For your assignment, conceptualize a simple statement with strong impact. This statement must be short and can suit the t-shirt illustration below. You will design your own t-shirt with your own statement. The statement must be an offshoot of the learning from this module, how to appropriately communicate emotional expressions. You will place this at the back of your shirt. Another statement shall be designed to the front of the shirt, but the statement here shall show your usual reactions, expressions of emotions before this module. Therefore, the front shows what we usually do, but the back part will show how it should actually be done. You may also choose the color of the shirt. Your assignment is named #WearYourExpressions. Thank you very much, my dear students. We are now done with Module 14, The Art of Emotional Expressions. Here are the key to corrections. Once again, thank you very much, my dear students. If you learned something from this video or if you have points for clarifications, I would appreciate it most if you comment it down below. Again, this is Ma'am Neri, your personal development teacher and your guidance counselor, saying all is well. Hakuna Matata everyone, God bless.